All right, should be recording to the cloud now. Before we start, we always do like to, you know, share with everyone our land and labor acknowledgements. Very important for us to do so. So I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement. CSU Long Beach is located on the sacred site of Pavanga. We acknowledge that we are on the land of the Tavanga, Gabrielino, and the Hachiman Waneno nations who have lived and continue to live here. We recognize the Tangva and Ahachiman nations and their spiritual connection as the first stewards and the traditional caretakers of this land. We thank them for their strength, perseverance, and resistance. In regards to, I really have to do better at pronouncing the tribal names. In regards to the labor acknowledgement, CSU Long Beach, we do recognize and acknowledge the labor upon which our country, state, and institution are built. We remember that our country was built on the labor of enslaved people who were kidnapped and brought to the US from the African continent, and recognize the continued contribution of their survivors. We also acknowledge all immigrant and indigenous labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented peoples who contributed to the building of the country and continue to serve within our labor force. We recognize that our country is continuously defined, supported, and built upon by oppressed communities and peoples. We acknowledge labor inequities and the shared responsibility for combating oppressive systems in our daily work. And this is very true. I think any of you, if you're following the SAG AFTRA labor strike that's going on right now, you know that labor challenges in the United States has been here for a while, and it's still an ongoing struggle. And we just CSU Long Beach take the time to acknowledge that. All right, so with that being said, we're going to talk about job search. So what I'm going to do today is, this is not going to be a PowerPoint slide. I'm not really big on PowerPoint slides. I'm actually going to discuss a plan A, B, and C when it comes to job search. This workshop will take into account those who are U.S. residents, U.S. citizens, as well as those who are international students, and how different strategies may be applied for different students who fall into different categories. Okay, some of the information I'm going to share is going to be seem pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and some others, there might be some new things that you're able to learn. So I'm actually going to take websites here, and I'm actually going to drop them in the chat and go from there, and share that with you in the chat as well. So just be prepared to grab some of those. All right, so let's start off. These are just going to be, I think these are the, everybody probably already knows this, but for any reason, if there might be that one person in the crowd who doesn't, who may not know about some of these websites. I'm going to cover these really quick. First is going to actually be CareerLink, and CareerLink would be right here. You would click on your CareerLink app that's within your single sign-on portal. Once you are inside the app, for those of you who are here in undergrad, I think some of you are probably already familiar with this, but for those of you who aren't, I'm just going to touch on this lightly, but I'm not going to stay on this long. This is just, again, the job portal for CSU Long Beach students. You can find jobs up here pretty much by going to jobs and putting in a keyword search. You can filter by a number of different filters. Here is how you can find jobs. Sometimes I'll put in like MBA, and I'll do a filter this way. And you'll see when you put in MBA, that filter will come up with jobs that pertain to that. Now, mind you, some of these jobs may not be in Long Beach. Thousand Oaks, if any of you are familiar with Southern California, Thousand Oaks is, I think it still sits within the San Fernando Valley, just before you get to Santa Clara, I believe. But that is way northwest of where we are. But Thousand Oaks, Amgen, is a really big company. It's I think a pharmaceutical company. But suffice it to say, you can plug in keywords to look for work in CareerLink. Also, graduate talent, particularly if you're AMBA students, even if the role says senior level, you can actually go ahead and apply for that as well. Sometimes our AMBA students are those students who are in our accelerated MBA program. They may not have many years of experience. So you're in this place of where you're in an MBA program, but you don't really have like maybe 5 years of experience under your belt. So you can also look at roles that are posted for seniors as well. But nonetheless, you can take a look in this job board to find jobs that are related to that are in harmony with what you're looking for and the career what you're looking for. Another application we want to take a look at is Career Shift. Not sure if any of you know of Career Shift, but Career Shift lives inside your Career Link job board. You would go to Resources, and you go to Online Tools, and you would click on Career Shift, and Career Shift would open up here for you. Career Shift does allow you to do a number of things. I touched on it a little bit at the networking workshop, but you can see here that it will also let you search for jobs, right? So if I just go to search, and again, you can search for work all over the country, and it works as Career Shift works as like a web scraper. So it's going to pull jobs from a multitude of different resources, LinkedIn, Indeed, company websites, and the like. But this is a really, really good tool in order to look for jobs. So you should utilize this. And this is all part of what I call your strategy A. Strategy A is you're going to direct websites, you're looking for jobs, and you're going to apply. So that's going to be strategy A. And again, Career Shift is a good resource to look for work. During the networking workshop, if some of you attended that, one of the things I touched on is you can also search for contacts, right? So once you look for jobs, I do suggest when you're looking at jobs, you're looking at the companies these jobs are posting, that posted at. And you want to also take a look to see if alumni work at those particular companies. But we're going to sort of touch on it a little bit, but we're not going to get too deep into that since that was really with the networking workshop. But we can utilize a Career Shift to look for alumni that work at employers at that companies that we're interested in working at. Okay. All right. Next. On the Graduate Business Career Services website, we have our hot jobs and opportunities page. And I think many of you by now, you're pretty much already familiar with this, right? So you're going to be able to see full-time, part-time internship positions. And some of those positions we pull from are from CareerLink, but we also post positions that may be highlighted on Career Shift or additional opportunities that we sometimes receive from employers that we have contact, a connection with, and they may share with us positions. So I think Nick has a question. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Andre. Just on the note of reaching out to alumni, I wanted to get your feedback on whether you think this is like too aggressive, but I basically did what you just suggested on LinkedIn, both for Cal State alum and my undergrad alums, where I just said like, hey, we're in the same alumni network. Would you be willing to like pass along my resume to the hiring manager? And never got responses. And I've had some people say, go for it. That might work. Other people have said, I don't know who would refer you if they didn't know you just based on like an alumni network connection.
Right.
So,
Very, very good question. Very good question. And yes, so I would say if you reach out to them doing what I call a hard ask,
okay.
yes, even though you have that connection as an alumni, they don't know you. So normally, and this is something that I also touched on at the networking workshop, when you reach out to alumni, whether it's on LinkedIn, and you can also do that in Career Shift, I normally go with a soft ask. I
Okay.
normally will say something along the lines of like, um, I'm a current MBA student at CSU Long Beach, who has an interest in, let's say they're in HR, who has an interest in human resources, and I would just love to connect with you to learn about your career path. I keep it that
Okay.
simple. I don't ask for referral. I don't say, look at my resume. I don't say, connect me with the hiring manager because they don't know you. They just simply don't know you, right?
Got
Or
it.
you can say again something along the lines of like, I'm a fellow CSU LB MBA student looking to connect with other MBA alumni, I would love to connect with you again to learn about your career path. And that's it, right? Now, let me go back to let's see here. Give me 1 second. I want to go back to Career Shift because you can find alumni on Career Shift as well, or just contacts in general. And I don't really want to go too deep into that because I really want to focus on the job search. But when you reach
Yeah.
out to alumni or any contact on um, on Career Shift, you're going to send your message by putting in the subject line. You'll put like CSULB MBA referral, right? Or, CSULB MSIS referral, so that when that alumni sees that in the subject line, they go, oh, wait a minute, like, okay, I went to CSULB. I was in the MBA program. Who's being referred to me, right? And
Okay.
again, and that's a way to reach out. And again, when you're setting up that email, and you're doing a direct outreach and you have their personal email, you're going to send an email that's similar to the outreach you did on LinkedIn. The only difference that you would do with Career Shift is you're just going to say something along the lines of like, hey, again, at CSU, I'm a CSU LB MBA, looking to reach out at the MBA talent, and I was referred to you by my career center. So you're going to put the onus on us, the blame on us. They said that you would be a good contact for me to reach out to, right? So that way they're not looking at you like, the person's crazy. I don't know who this
Okay.
reaching out to me directly, right?
Got
So
it.
yeah. All right. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. It's a good question. Very good question. In regards to jobs, everybody knows that you can find work on LinkedIn as well as Indeed. So these are two sites that you can these are going to be like the most dominant websites you're going to look at when it comes to work, LinkedIn and Indeed. If you are not familiar with the two, I think by now everybody is familiar with both LinkedIn and Indeed. But let me do this. I'm still going to go ahead and I will let me see if I can drop these in the chat for those who aren't. All right. So let me start now looking at some specialty websites. Let's get into that. So we can target websites that are looking for, specific cohorts of students. All right. All right. Let me just quench my thirst there. All right. So let's start with boom, there you go. All right, so you should see that now. So websites like iCrunch Data. So this is a website that's good for those who are, looking to, excuse me, looking to find work in the tech space. So if you're a data analyst or, data scientist looking for any jobs as such, you're going to look at iCrunch Data. That's a really, really good website to look at. You are also going to look at, let's see here. I'm just letting people into the room. I'm noticing people are still coming into the room. You're going to look also at Dice. Dice is another excellent website in order to find jobs that relate to data analytics, right? So I put in data. Let me just put a job search. And let's see here. All right, so you're going to see data roles come up here. Okay, so when it comes to tech, you're going to look at iCrunch Data, and iCrunch Data. Let me see here, network. Let me just see. I'm going to put data again and see. I just put data. Look, there's some big companies are posting here as well. You're going to find like Tesla, NVIDIA, and the like. So yes, so you're going to look at these two websites as well as Data Jobs. Okay, you're going to look at Data Jobs. Data Jobs is another excellent website that you're going to look at when it comes to finding jobs, specifically for those of you who are looking to work in the data analytics field. All right. Another website that you want to check out, again, this is for those in tech, is Built in LA. Okay, Built in LA, I think this website, I could be wrong, but or maybe I think it was always named Built in LA, but Built in LA, you notice here, you see that this is like the Santa Monica Pier. So you know how up north we have Silicon Valley in Northern California. So down here in Southern California, we call it Silicon Beach. So a website like Built in LA was formed to cater to or to focus on upstart companies that are in a tech space that are in Southern California. So you can see here, you can hover over jobs and find work in different areas: marketing, operations, HR, and data. They also used to have on here the salary section. This is okay. It's hit or miss in finding salaries. Sometimes you're able to find some, sometimes not. You can find remote work on here as well. This website also used to post meetups. So if you were interested in meeting up with people in the tech space, just to meet with people with common interest in the same space, this was a website that had that allowed you to find events where you can connect with other people and go hang out and meet those people and network. Not sure if they still do it. You'd have to research the website, but Built in LA is a really, really good space to check out when it comes to work in a startup space. You know, even if you're as an MBA talent looking, if you're looking to work in HR operations and data as well. All right. Now, what about for those of you in finance? You're like, don't leave us out. Financial Job Bank. So this is a resource that you are going to want to check out. And actually, let me do this. I'm going to drop, let me do this. Let me see if I can drop a couple of these in the chat. Built-in Financial Job Bank. Let's do this. I'm going to do this so you can start opening this up now and saving them. Let's see if it's going to let me do that. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. All right. So I just dropped those in there right now, so you can start grabbing those right now. All right. So Financial Job Bank, for those of you in finance, if you're looking to do audit, tax, accounting, and finance, this is your website. Now, what if you're someone who's like, well, you know, I'm looking more for econ jobs. I'm an MBA talent, but I focus on finance, sort of, but more so on the economic side. You're going to look at the National Association for Business Economics. They have their own job board, and you can see right here, they have a number of jobs that relate to those seeking work in economics. Economic analyst, senior economist and consulting director, macroeconomic strategy and research analyst, and the like. So you would take a look at this website in regards to finding work in the econ space if this is your interest. Now, we talked a little bit about HR. Now, the Society for Human Resources Management. This is an organization that I do recommend joining for those of you who are interested in a career in HR. I talked about this at the networking workshop. They also have their own job board. So you can check out HR roles here. So again, they have jobs specifically for those of you who are interested in human resources. All right, so moving right along from HR, let's take a look at marketing. So some of you might be in the the MS Marketing Analytics program, or some of you might be in the MBA program, but you just have an interest in marketing. So Marketing Hire is a website that you can check out. They have jobs. They post a number of, they have a job search board where you can look for a number of jobs in the marketing arena. And they also have just good resources that you can just check out. So I do highly recommend checking them out as well. Let me see if I can grab this and put this in the chat for you. Let's do that. Let's see if this is going to work. Come back over here. Let's drop this in. All right, there you go. All right, so far we've covered jobs in data. We've covered jobs for those in finance, econ, HR, and marketing. Let's also take a look at, I'm going to go here next, actually. Ooh, let's not do that. It's minimizing. I don't want to minimize. Let's take a look at government jobs. I think a lot of you already know about how to find government jobs through this website. I think Chuck, who I spoke to earlier this week, had mentioned that he's looked at this website. So some of you know about government jobs. You can take a look there. For those of you who are international students, it could be a challenge for you to get certain government jobs, because some government jobs do require some level of security clearance. And as an international student, a non-citizen, um, that may be a challenge for you, but still you can take a look there when it comes to finding work. Again, as an international student, many of you have been asking me about finding work on campus. In all honesty, that can be a challenge. The majority of the jobs on campus are for students who are local, meaning they have permanent residency or they're a US citizen. And a lot of the jobs go through a federal work study program. And those federal work study programs where the government supplements, um, monies. They have money set aside for students to work on campus jobs as a way to supplement financing their education. Those jobs, unfortunately, are not open to international students, as many of you know. So when it comes to finding work on campus, again, this goes here, you're primarily going to focus on looking at, um, you're going to focus on looking at Career Link as well to find work. And the only other suggestion I would really make for international students looking for work on campus is that you want to find like senior level students, meaning students who are more senior than you. Maybe they're in another program. They're not just in the program you're in now, but students who are already working on campus. They might be in a College of Engineering. They might be in an MSMA, MSIS program. See if there are any students who already work in an on-campus job. Organically befriend them, right? Be a true friend to them, organically befriend them, and just make a connection with them. Because many times I see that when it is their time to graduate and they're getting ready to exit that position, if you have a good relationship with them, guess who are they're going to recommend when they go to their manager. They're going to recommend you, right? So that's how you're going to have to get an in. I know that may not help for some of you who are like, I need a job yesterday on campus, but that is really the best way. Work for international students on campus, it definitely is a struggle, as many students are looking for work, and again, many students being American citizens and those with permanent residence, and that's going to be your competition. All right. So, any questions so far? If I'm moving too fast, if I'm talking too quickly, please let me know. All right. So far, so good. All right. So next thing I want to do is let's see here. Let's see if I can carry on the conversation when it comes to international students. Um, Actually, let me go back. Let me go back. There is something I forgot to mention. Let me go back and see. Where is this? Let's do this. Okay. Let me share my screen again. Let's share my screen again. And hopefully everyone's grabbing these links. All right. On Facebook, boom, there it is. Okay, on Facebook, there is a job posting list called the Albert's Jobs Listings and Referrals. So this is a group on LinkedIn. That's what it is. It's a group on LinkedIn where the community shares jobs that they know of. So people who are hiring, people who are looking for help, they actually share amongst each other job opportunities that are out there. You can see that this list, this group, I should say, has just shy of 4,000 members. Albert, he's a good guy. I met him many, many years ago. He's based in Northern California. He started the job list up there, and it just gained traction. The main Albert's list is in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. If you look here, you'll see it has just shy of 50,000 members. So if you are open to looking for work in the Northern California area, definitely check out Albert's jobs listings as well. They routinely will go and post jobs that jobs that people know of, where their contacts they have openings and they're willing to make a referral, right? And again, people, they're just willing to help out. The one thing that I would say is if you join the group, also try to contribute if you can. If you know of job openings, go ahead and share that with people. Don't always be a taker, but be a giver as well. Let me go and see if I can put that. Let's go a second, put that in the chat as well. All right, so let me drop that in here. Boom. All right, so you have both in the chat right now. Okay, so let me go back and I want to sort of focus in a little on international students. But I think for those of you who are local citizens, permanent residents, you'll find some benefit in this as well. Okay, here we go. All right. So let me go inside of Career Link Job Board. So once you go inside Career Link, you're actually going to look for a resource called Going Global. Some of you may have already heard of this. If you haven't, I'll take you there now. We're going to go to Resources, Online Tools, and Going Global, which is right over here. Okay, so what is Going Global? Going Global is a platform that allows students worldwide to find jobs in different countries. So they have career guides up here that have this career guides for a multitude of countries showing you how to successfully get work in Japan, Australia, Singapore, England, and the like. However, most students in the United States don't really use this because they're pretty happy with just looking for work in the United States. But with that being said, the students who I see use this the most are international students. The one good thing about Going Global is they have an H-1B tab. H-1B meaning sponsorship, right? For those of you who are not international students, you may not know about this. You're like, what the heck is he talking about? International students, when they're working here, if they want to work long-term, companies do have to sponsor them. They can get sponsorship for work through their company if they're not sponsored by other means, right? Other means would be like marriage, for instance. Okay, so Going Global has an H-1B list showing you companies that sponsor, but they also have an OPT list as well. So they have a list of employers that have hired for occupational practical training. So all of these companies here, from ABC Industries to 7-Eleven to ADM and the like, there are numerous tabs here. FedEx. There are numerous companies on here that have hired students to work under their OPT visa while they're still here working. So international students, I highly recommend that you check this out, as this will give you, it helps cut down the time that you would be doing searching for work, because instead of just blindly looking for work out there, you can target your job search to employers who you know hire under OPT. And likewise, you can target here and look for companies that specifically sponsor. So how you would use this, again, click on the H-1B plus. And this is something that I use for international students as well as those who are not international students. So what do I mean by that? So let's just say I'm an international student and I'm looking for work. And let's just say I'm going to put Los Angeles. Let's say Los Angeles. And I'm going to put in a keyword as data. Okay, I'm just going to put data. I'm going to click on search. This can take a while. Let's search. All right. So it pulled up 1,000 different jobs. Bear with me one moment. Just want to make sure anyone's waiting to get into the room. Perfect. Okay. So it pulled up over 1,000 results. So how you're going to use this as an international student, you are going to take a look at this column here, the occupation, to see what it is that they do, data scientist. You want to look at the job title, and you want to look at the company, right? So I'm taking a look at all the companies in Los Angeles that sponsored international students for anything that related to data engineering here, business data analyst, clinical data science engineer, data and policy analyst, right? So this is how you're going to utilize going global to look for companies that sponsor international talent. And another thing that you're going to pay attention to is definitely the salary. It shows you the salary that these positions pay for. But even more important, you want to take a look at the year. So you want to pay attention to what year did this company sponsor? So 2023 obviously means that the company has sponsored more recently. If you see on here companies has sponsored and it goes back to 2021, but in 2022, 2023, you don't see that they've sponsored, then it means that maybe they're not sponsoring right now. Right? But this is a really good way to learn about what companies are sponsoring. Now, what you can also do, let me edit this search again. I'm going to just put in marketing. Let me put in marketing and it's search again. All right, marketing. Come on. Search, let's do search for marketing. There you go. All right. So 500 results, 500 plus results came up from marketing. And it's again showing you the companies here that sponsored international talent who held marketing positions. This is important because it's going to let you know what type of position gets sponsored. For those of you who are not international students, you might be saying, well, this is great for them, but what do I do with this? How I like to use this as someone who is not an international student, this is a really good way to see what companies in Los Angeles hired for a marketing manager position if I'm interested in marketing, a marketing manager, right? And also like, how much did they pay? Right. So this is a really good way for those of you who don't need sponsorship to be able to find companies that are hiring for what you're looking to step into. Okay. I think somebody may have their mic open. I'm gonna have everyone maybe mute. There we go. Yes. All right. Just muted everyone. All right. So far, does that make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense so far. All right. All right. Okay, one thumbs up. Maybe some people say this doesn't fully make sense. Okay, so I see a couple of thumbs up. All right. So again, you are going to utilize, let me wait for it to come up, share the screen any minute now. There you go. All right. So you're going to utilize going global, and that can be found through CareerLink to see who sponsors. You're also going to take a look at sites like H1B Grader. H1B Grader is an excellent website. It will show you who are the top H1B sponsors, meaning who are the top companies that have sponsored H1B talent in the second quarter of 2023. Top H1B job titles, top cities that have companies that sponsor. So this is another great resource to use. Let me go ahead and see if I can drop this in the chat as well. H1B grader. All right. Another website to take a look at is My Visa Jobs. If you're an international student, again, My Visa Jobs, you want to take a look at the H-1B visa tab. You're going to go there. You're going to plug in, put in a company like maybe Petco. I'm going to leave the job title open. I'm going to hit search. All right, on this website, it's going to show me here. It's showing that Petco has sponsored. So if you plug in a company and nothing comes up, that generally means that the company doesn't sponsor. If it kicks back a company and you see here, it clearly gives you the employer, it lists the job titles, then it means that they do sponsor. Oh, what I like about My Visa Jobs is over on the left-hand side here, you're going to see the job titles that have got that receive sponsorship and a number by to let you know how many. It's also going to get into the city that sponsorship took place and what type of occupation, what the role was, right? One thing that I do like on this website here is I noticed with San Diego, for instance, it showed me that with this company, 19 positions that offered sponsorship were in the city of San Diego. So if you're an international student and you're looking for sponsorship, what city do you think you'd probably target? You probably would target Petco that's applying for positions in San Diego. So that's how you would utilize this. All right. So that's going to be what I'm going to touch on now when it comes to, for now, when it comes to um, international students. Any questions so far before I move on? No? Okay, very good. All right. So,
Yes, can you please share the last link?
oh, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, 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 that's good. Yeah, like it would help if you actually shared that. Okay, let's put in my visa jobs. And let me go to the chat. And there we go. Okay, so you have my visa jobs in there. Now, let's take a look at staffing agencies. How many people, show of hands, are familiar with staffing agencies? Okay, some are. Okay, a few are. Not too many, just a few. Okay, very good. Not a lot, not a lot. Okay, so staffing agencies, this is another way that you're going to do job search. So you're going to attack it at different from different points. The first way is you're just going to apply directly. You're going to find the job on the website, whether it's through CareerLink, whether it's through Indeed, LinkedIn. You're going to find the job. You're going to apply. That's like number one. Number two is you are going to utilize a staffing agency to help you find work. Staffing agencies, share going global. Yeah, let me put going global in there. Going global can be found mostly in your, give me 1 second, let me just grab this. It's gonna be found in your career link. All right, let me put going global in there. I did put that in there for you. All right, so staffing agencies, let me go back to staffing agencies. Staffing agencies, what they do is they work with companies. Companies reach out to them, they say, hey, look, we're looking for talent, and we need some help sourcing, screening talent. So what they do is they hire the staffing agency to go find talent to bring to them. Many times when you go to a staffing agency, they'll have a job board. You can apply or submit your resume on the website for the staffing agency. If they like your resume and they want to submit you to the employer that they work with, they'll reach out to you. They'll say, hey, Maria, or hey, I'm Ed. Hey, Terrence, we have this job opening here. We noticed that you're an MBA talent and you have some work experience in XYZ field. Would you be interested in going in for an interview? Okay. So staffing agencies work like that. You do not have to pay them. So you never have to come out of pocket for a staffing agency. So don't ever pay for them. The employer who has hired them, they pay them. So you do not have to pay them. Now, when it comes to working with staffing agencies, let me close out this real quick. Staffing agencies, they recruit by either hiring in certain functions, you can say. They may do what's called a hire by contract. That means the company, let's say Google, says, we want to hire the talent that you have. We're going to put them on contract. So we're not going to hire them directly. We're going to have them on a 6-month contract. So that's one way. The second is contract to hire, meaning, okay, we're going to hire them on contract, but the goal is to eventually transition them to work for Google full-time. So that's a second option that the staffing agency may have. The third option is the staffing agency may work with the company to do a direct hire. So Google may say, no, we want you to source the talent, bring it to us, and we're going to hire them on directly. So those are your 3 options. Now, sometimes as international students, you may say, wow, what do I do? What should I do? Because I don't want to burn up my OPT working for a company that may or may not hire me. I would suggest as an international student, I really would only be looking to work with companies, particularly if you're looking for sponsorship and you're looking to stay here. If you're not looking to stay here, then this doesn't really matter. But if you're looking to stay here, then you do want to work with the staffing agency that is going to work with employers who are looking to bring you onto the company full time, whether it's after 3 months, 6 months, even a year. Those contracts may last that long because you do have a certain amount of time to work under your OPT, and you need sponsorship by then, or if not, then you would have to return back to your home country. All right. So let me go ahead and go back to the staffing agencies to show you some staffing agencies that I recommend. All right. So one of those staffing agencies that I recommend is going to be, let me see here. It's going to be Vitesse. Vitesse. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Let me put them in the chat. They specialize in certain industries, certain areas. And you can see right here certain areas that you will be able to find certain work in these particular areas. So if you're interested in working in electronics, manufacturing, healthcare, they do have certain positions that are open for talent, where they're looking for talent. So I would recommend that you search their job board and apply for a job through the website. Some of the staffing agencies will just take your resume. They'll just ask you to upload your resume onto their database, and they will save that and look for work for you. Another staffing agency that's really popular is Robert Half. Robert Half is really good for those of you who are, in the finance and accounting space. So Robert Half is good for finance and accounting. I'm going to drop that in there for you. And they also have branched out into technology, the technology space. But again, they're really strong in accountancy and finance. So for those of you who are, again, looking for work in that arena, you're looking for a staff accounting, audit, tax, corporate accounting positions, definitely check out Robert Half. Okay. Another company to check out is Scion. Scion Staffing, they're based out of Los Angeles. What I like about Scion is they focus on a number of different areas when it comes to staffing. Let me scroll down. Tech, let me just click on this real quick. So if you're looking to find roles in the tech space, they do recruit for that, and they work with employers looking to recruit in that space. Now, one thing I will say about Scion is they do recruit a lot for executive level roles. So you'll notice a lot that they look for C-suite positions. They recruit for C-suite positions, VP, director roles, as well as roles that are front end, UI, UX. Let me see, chief data officer. So you'd have to see if they recruit, they do data. So they do have data roles as well. So I would definitely look at Scion for that in regards to those of you who are looking to work in the data or the tech space. Nonprofits as well. If you're looking to work in nonprofits, you have a passion for nonprofit, and you believe that you're ready to step into an executive level role in the nonprofit arena, then Scion is a good place for you to put in your resume. And you can see here, these are the positions that they actively work with employers, positions to fill: CEO, executive director, development, same finance and accounting, in nonprofit operations. They're looking to fill these positions as well. So if you feel you have a passion for nonprofits, you want to step into that arena and you want to put in your hat for executive level roles, you can do that as well. The medical space. If you're someone who you want to work in the medical field, let me scroll down and see what that is there. I do know that there are some MBA talent that we have who they don't have it listed here, but I know we have some MBA talent who have worked in the medical space before, and they are looking to step into the healthcare arena. Even if you're an MBA talent, I still would reach out to them if you're looking to step into the into the medical healthcare space. They may also be just recruiting here for like nurses, doctors as well. But again, they most likely would also recruit for MBA talent who are looking to step into leadership roles in the healthcare arena. So I would encourage Scion. Did I put them? I did put them in there. Okay, in the chat. All right. Let's get into going back to tech. Motion Recruitment. This is another staffing agency that I highly, highly recommend. Let me scroll down. They only focus on tech, right? Software jobs, cybersecurity, data jobs. They only focus on tech. They don't do anything else other than that. They only do tech. And I will say, what I have seen of Motion Recruitment is they do tend to look for talent that have some level of work experience. That's not to say that if you have just 1 or 2 years, they won't look at you, but you will get even stronger looks if you have 3 years of experience and up. However, if you have 1 year, 2 years of experience in the data space, data analytics, still, I would reach out to them. They're really, really good. They are really good. I'd reach out to them. And I did put them in the chat. All right. Another staffing agency that I recommend is Kforce. So Kforce, they do hire or recruit for companies in a multitude of areas. So let me see, technology, finance. One good thing, HR, I believe HR as well. One thing that I like about Kforce, and this goes back to international students, is that they are actually very familiar with how sponsorship works. So as an international student, international talent, some of you'll find out that some companies are not really, they really don't know how to navigate the arena of sponsorship. So working with the staffing agency that is familiar with that can work to your advantage. So again, they're very familiar with H-1B visas, working with F-1 visa students, OPT, CPT, and the like. Okay, they're very, very familiar with that. So let me put them in the chat as well. All right. Okay. Finally, the Adecco. Adecco has been around forever. Um, they have positions. They work with many companies to recruit for a multitude of positions in the business arena. So whether you're MBA, accounting, finance, data, marketing, HR, they actually recruit for that as well. Now, one thing that you're going to notice, I put them in the chat. One thing that you will notice is that with some of these staffing agencies, you may have to be open to looking for work in other parts of the country, particularly if you're an international student. You may look in there and say, "Oh, great! I see some great data roles," but the data roles are like in maybe North Carolina or Orlando, Florida, or Kentucky, right? And you might think, "I want to stay in Southern California." I would say just be open to looking for work wherever it might be. Now, obviously, for those of you who don't need sponsorship, you have permanent residency, you're U.S. citizens, you're totally comfortable and fine with staying in Southern California, then of course you probably will not be highly entertaining positions that are outside of California unless you're looking to make a move, right? I have friends who have, quite a bit of my friends have moved to Texas and Florida. Texas, Florida, and now North Carolina tend to be places where I'm seeing people leave California and move to in a good amount. All right, so that's going to be it when it comes to staffing agencies. So again, you're going to look to apply for roles directly. You're also going to look to leverage help with staffing agencies, and you're also going to, let me do this here. Give me one second. You're going to look, and that's going to be like your number one approach for looking for work. Any questions so far, or any thoughts? Any thoughts on staffing agencies? Any thoughts on the websites that we talked about so far? Everyone's quiet. Going once, going twice.
I have a question, Andrew.
Yes.
Can you repeat what you said about the staffing agencies and the length of contracts for international students? Because
Yes.
it's not clear to me what is convenient or not for us in that
Correct.
matter. Thank
No,
you.
I get you. I totally yes. So again, the staffing agencies, when they hire, when they work with an employer, the employer will say to them, "Hey, look, this position I have that I'm hiring for, it's really only under contract, or it's contract to hire, or it's direct hire. If it's under a contract role, you want to find out from the recruiter, how long is this contract? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? Because I'm an international student, I'm working on OPT. And I'm ideally looking for a company that sponsors. Does this company even sponsor? Because if they don't sponsor, you probably don't even want to enter into that position. Now, I know some students who are like, hey, look, it's Google. I want to, maybe they're not hiring, but maybe I can work with them for 6 months, have Google on my resume, get out of that contract, and that would position me in the market to be more marketable because I have Google on my resume as an international student. That's a risk that I have seen some students take, and for some it's worked out for them, but it is a risk. It is a risk. But does that answer your question?
Just to make sure that I understood, so so I should prefer to get a deal that is directly with the company
A direct
instead of
hire.
a direct hire, instead
Yeah,
of like let's say 3 6 months contract
correct.
with the staffing agency. Okay, thank you.
Correct. Correct. You are absolutely correct. All right. So, good question. Very good question. So now I want to talk about a plan B, and this is really going to be for international students. And I know some internationals you may not want to hear this. So let's see if I can give me 1 second. Where do I have this? Okay. Plan B. What is a plan B? So plan B is, let's say it's an international student. And this is actually, those of you who are American citizens may find this of interest as well. So your plan A is you're going to look for work in the US, and you're going to do that directly by applying to websites or working with the staffing agency to help them look for work for you. Plan B is you are going to go north of the United States and look at Canada. Canada is going through an extreme shortage of talent. And Canada has a what they call their CRS, their comprehensive ranking system. This is a tool that it allows you to plug in information to see your chances of getting sponsorship in Canada. So it's called the Express Entry CRS tool. Canada has, they sponsor faster. And not only that, there's certain benefits that they have when they sponsor international talent. One of them is this international talent. When Canada sponsors you, they allow you to not only come in with, let me say, your wife or your husband, but your mother and father, your immediate family as well. You can immediately bring your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife. They bring the whole family in. Um, so this is something that you may want to take a look at. Now, I know some students are like, I didn't come here to hear you tell me to go look for work in Canada. But I want to be realistic and say, hey, look, it may or may not work that you'll be able to find work in the United States, find employment in the United States. So as a backup plan, you can look at Canada. Canada, I think even last year, had a recruitment target goal of, I think, of 300,000 positions that they needed to fill. That is a lot. That's over 250,000 positions that they're looking to fill. Now, I know some people might say, well, I don't know, Canada and their politics. I don't know if we want to get into Canada and the like. That's totally up to you. I totally understand that. But I just want to offer you um, a second option that you may want to look at if you find, hey, I'm coming down to the wire. I haven't found anything. I haven't gotten sponsorship yet in the United States, right? So Canada is going to be your back pocket. So you do want to take a look at this. Um, Give me 1 second. Let me see. Let me go here. let me see something here. I want to go to LinkedIn. Let me see my network. I believe, what is her name? I do have a contact. I may have to look. I'll probably look this up later. I have time, but I do have a contact who is the immigration officer, who immigration officer for the Canadian consulate, and she's very familiar with helping students who are interested in looking for work in Canada. Now, for those of you who are American students, you might think, I wouldn't mind working in the US. The United States and Canada have a really good working relationship where if you're a US citizen, it is easy for you to also get work in Canada, and you can use the same CRS tool to find if you can work in Canada. And it works on a point system. If you have X amount of points, that says, all right, if you reach this X amount of points, then you can be fast-tracked into working in the US. And because many of you are coming in with an MBA or some type of a tech skill, then you're going to be bumped up when it comes to gaining access to the Canadian job market. Okay. All right. So that is going to be your plan B. Plan C. And this is again for international students. Plan C is you are going to look to work for American companies that are based in your home country. You're going to look to work for American companies that are based in your home country. And I think right now you should be seeing Meta that's here. Now, as you can see, Meta has offices all over Europe, Asia, the Americas, and the like. Now, you might be thinking, why would I want to do that? Like, I'm not trying, I want to stay here and work. I wasn't looking to go back home. The reason I say that this is a plan B, I'm sorry, plan C, right? You got your A, work in America. B, work north of the border, Canada. C, if all else fails, you're going to go back and work in your home country. And why do you want to do that? You're going to see what offices that they have in your home country, because it's very possible that you can come back to work in the United States through a certain visa type that some of you may already know of. This is Google. Google has offices all throughout the world, right? Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, right? Sao Paulo, Europe, Asia, Africa. So if any of you are students and you see here that these big companies, my wife is from Indonesia, Jakarta even, if you see that these companies have an office in your home country, then do see about applying, because you can come back and work on an L1 visa. How many people, show of hands, how many people have heard of an L1 visa? Or actually, how many people have not heard of an L1 visa? Let's go with, who's never heard of an L1 visa? Never heard of this in their life. Okay, that's one. Okay. She's like, am I the only one? No problem. Okay. So an L1 visa is what you would call like an intra-office visa. And it's usually reserved for people who hold either management positions or they work in a position that has a specialized skill set, a data analyst, data scientist, or something of that nature, or your management, your a director, executive, manager, and the like. L1 visa allows you, the company, to say, hey, look, there's a position. I know that you're here maybe in New Zealand, but there's a position that opened up in Southern California that we're looking to fill. And would you be interested in going to work in the US for a period of time, right? If you say yes, you can go work under the L1 visa, and you get to go back to work in the United States under this type of visa. L1 visa has no cap limit. No cap limit. H1B does have a cap limit, meaning they can American companies can only sponsor. There's only a certain number of H1B sponsorship visas that are allotted every year in the United States for corporate jobs. If you want to work in higher education academics, the university, there's no cap for H-1B. So though that's something to think about for those of you who are international students and you want to work under in US under H-1B visa, and as well as for looking to go work in your home country at a US company, that way you can possibly come back through L1 visa, an L1 visa. This here gives information on how you qualify for L1 visa. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. All right, what are some other visas you can look at? An EB2 visa. Show of hands, how many people have heard of the E visas, the EB visas? Anybody? Yes, no, maybe so, maybe not. Okay, so the EB2 visas. These are visas that are put aside for people who have advanced degrees, or you are someone that has an exceptional ability, right? If you hold an advanced degree is usually a master's level degree. It's more than a bachelor's. Sometimes, they do look at a bachelor degree, but they may say, oh, a bachelor degree, but maybe in addition to that, you need 5 years post bachelor's experience, right? But so let's say you have a PhD, a master's, MS degree. This is another opportunity you can look at to come work in the US. Let me go and put this information in the chat. This is all employment information that you can use. EB2 visa explain. Let me just, I'm going to share this as well for those of you who are not familiar with EB2 visas. I'm going to put that in there for you as well. Okay. All right. So it's like 6:32. Okay. Any questions so far? I do want to touch on some other resources when it comes to job search. Any questions, anything that I missed that I did not touch on so far that you have questions on? Now's the time to ask and say something. Well, so far good. Give a thumbs up if the information so far you think it is useful, beneficial. Everyone's quiet, like, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? Okay, so some thumbs up. Okay, very good. All right. So some things that I want to do, some resources that I do want to share with you is going to be, let's say, let's go here. One thing that you can do is you can strategize your job search. So I'm going to touch on what's called wait for this to share. Boom, there we go. All right. So there is a strategy that is called the 2-hour job search. This the 2-hour job search was coined by Steve Dalton, who wrote a book by the same title, 2-hour job search, which means you can just do a job search within 2 hours. I like this because this is it's a more strategic way to look for work. What you'll tend to find is I see students who, when they're in that job hunting, job search mode, when they're really on it, they're looking everywhere. They're applying on company websites. They're applying on Indeed. They're applying in Krilling. They're applying on LinkedIn. They see a job here. Oh, I see a job here on LinkedIn. Let me apply. Oh, here's another job over here. Company website. I'm going to apply. Oh, there's another one on Indeed, and they go to apply. So they're all over the place, like buckshot, right? All over the place. 2-hour job search works on helping you strategize, to take a step back and strategize your job search. This is beneficial for everyone, especially the international student. So how does this work? You're going to create what is called a lamp list. A lamp list. And lamp is the L is for list, A, alumni, M for motivation, P for posting. So what does this look like? In the L column or the list column, you are going to put in that column, you're just going to dump in that column all of the dream employers that you would love to work for. Companies that are trending, companies that alumni work at. You're going to fill up that list. I would say put in there 30, 40 companies minimum. In the alumni column, so here it says, write a yes or no, do alumni work there or not? For those of you who have met with me and we've talked about this, I always say, don't put yes or no. Rather, I want you to put a number, 3, 1, 7, 4, put a number. Okay. All right. In the motivation column, 5, means that this is a company that you highly motivated, would love to work for. One, not that highly motivated. If an opportunity opens up, you'll take it. But, it's not your number one pick. And then job postings. So you're going to put a 3. That means, yes, this company is hiring for positions that are relevant to me. Or 2, the company is hiring, but not for positions that are related to me, relevant to me. Or number 1, company has a hiring freeze. They are not hiring right now. So what does this look like when you put this on an Excel spreadsheet? Let's take a look at this. All right. Excuse me. Okay, so here is what this looks like on an Excel spreadsheet. So here you can see column A, you list the companies, alumni column, motivation, job posting, and you're going to notice here that I added 3 other columns. 1, sponsorship. Does the company sponsor? Yes or no? You can find that out through H1 Grader, Going Global, My Visa Jobs. We talked about that. Does this company, is this company located in my home country? Yes or no? And any notes that I may want to take. So let's just say you fill this out. You've filled this out with like 50 companies. You might say, I only want to look at companies that have 5 or more alumni. Okay. And the reason why is because as part of your job search, you're going to be doing outreach to alumni. That is part of your job search. So this Excellent Corp, and these are just made up companies, but let's just say they have 10 alumni there and the motivation is really high. I would really like to work there. Again, 10 alumni, I'd really love to work there. And they have some job postings, not relevant to me, but some job postings. I'm going to like reach out to some of the alumni there just to see if I can get an in, make a contact, maybe meet a recruiter there. I'm going to see who can help me get in the door there. You might say, hey, look, Light Z has 6 alumni there. Not the highest on my list of motivation wanting to work there, but they do sponsor. They do sponsor, right? And that's something I'm looking for, right? Or you might say, I'm really only interested in companies that sponsor. That's it. I want companies that sponsor, and I want companies that are also my home country. Acme does the trick, and I'm highly motivated to work there. There are alumni who work there, and guess what? They're actually hiring for jobs that are relevant to me. Okay, so this is how you can use this sheet, right? I always say, I know it says 2-hour job search, but I would say you can take more time to fill this out. It's going to take time to look for alumni. So I would say do this over the weekend when you're watching Netflix, Roku, YouTube, sit down with some snacks, kick back if you have some time to do that. You probably don't have much time to kick back because of studying and assignments you have to do, but just take some time to build out the list, go to LinkedIn, see how many alumni work there, go to like Going Global, see if they sponsor. You might want to do that first. So, right, you may want to write down the companies first, then see if they actually sponsor. Then that will help you decide whether you want to fill out the rest for those of you who are international students. For those of you who are not, you're going to go and build this out and you're going to keep this and you're going to make notes, right? You're going to know who you reached out to and the like. All right. So we have 5 minutes coming up. Let me do this. Last thing I want to share is some tools that you can use to help you out. Let's go here. Okay. I think I shared all the links so far. I have to email you. I'm going to have to email you the 2-hour job search. All right. So here's a tool. How many people have heard of Hunter? How many people have not heard of Hunter? This job tool. Let me see, show of hands. How many people say, I've never heard of this extension? All right, a couple of people haven't. Okay, so Hunter allows you to track the jobs that you have searched on a multitude of websites and do autofill. So some of you know that as you're applying for work, it gets to be tedious. You apply for a job, you have to go to another website. They're asking you for the same information all over again. You're like, I got to put my name and my address. Again, how many times do I have to do this? Well, lucky for you, there are extensions that will help do that for you. So Hunter is a job search tracker. It will keep track of the jobs you applied for, and it will do an autofill for the positions for when you're applying for jobs. Now, the only catch to Hunter is at a certain point, it's going to ask you to pay. I don't know when. I don't know if it's after you've applied for 40 jobs, 30 jobs, 50 jobs, but at some point, it does ask you to pay. So just keep that in mind before using it. Another tool to look at is going to call Simplify Code Pilot. How many people have not heard of Simplify Copilot? See here. Just okay, a couple people. All right, a couple of people. Some of you have. All right. All right. Simplify Copilot is an autofill for job applications. So this is going to make life so much easier for you. And I do not think you have to pay for this. I do not think you have to pay for this. So these are some tools that I recommend that you look at when it comes to job search. Certain tools that you can utilize. Let me hear any thoughts that anybody has so far on what we've touched on so far. What are some key takeaways? We have about a couple of minutes left. Key takeaways for anyone. What are some key takeaways for anyone? Or anything I did not touch on that you're like, I had questions about this, but he never touched on XYZ. I actually just dropped the Qualtrics survey in there. I'm going to kindly ask that you take about 2 seconds just to complete that. It gives us excellent feedback to know how what type of events, workshops to develop for you. All right, so Terrence mentioned the 2-hour job search strategy, so you like that. Anything else? Don't be shy. Everyone's shy. Everyone's like, I don't say anything. I'm just shy. You can drop it in the chat. Any key takeaways? Okay. Staffing agencies. All right, staffing agencies, a backup? Yes. Staffing agencies, you want to use leverage. So when you're looking for work, you're going to apply for jobs directly. You are going to utilize staffing agencies, and you're going to build your network. So if you came to the networking workshop that we had, then we talked about the importance of building your network. You're going to utilize them to look for work for you, so you're not doing it all on your own, right? You're also going to be more targeted for those of you, particularly international students, using tools that allow you to see who sponsors, who doesn't. Who has a company in my home country or not. Last thing I'm going to share with you, totally almost forgot about this. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Last thing I'm going to mention. Okay, let me share my screen one more time. Then I promise we'll be done. So some of you need to run to class. Okay, another way that you can look for work is just pick the city that you may want to work in, Irvine, Long Beach, LA. Just simply go to Google Maps and just write in marketing companies near Irvine. And just see what comes up. See what comes up, because what you're going to do is you're going to find the local companies. And once you find them, you are then going to go back to LinkedIn. Can I send the links for finance, or will you be emailing them? I thought I put the link for finance in there. I didn't. All right, let me go back and put, I'm going to go back. Let me put that here. Let's drop this in here for Miss Gabriela. All right. All right. So I hope everyone was able to grab the links. I wasn't planning to go back and send them all, but you can always go back and watch this. Yeah. I'll see if I can put the links in. Maybe I'll do that as well, include the links. But anywho, it's got 1 minute until we wrap it up. But again, just do something as simple as go to Google Maps, put in marketing, or put in something like, let me see, I can do manufacturing, maybe manufacturing. Let me see, near Long Beach, California. Right, so you can do a search, and you'll be able to see all. So you might be wanting to work in operations. Right? So you can take on, say, what are the manufacturing companies like in Long Beach? Same thing, aerospace, right? It might be, are there any accounting firms in Long Beach. Same thing, accounting firms. You can look them up as well. So that's another way just to say, I just want to really target, I just want to see what's in my area. Then go look them up on LinkedIn, go do alumni work there, and then you can do your outreach that way. Okay. All right. It is 6:45. I don't necessarily want to keep you any longer for those of you who have class. I can stick around for maybe 5 minutes. For those of you who have questions, I'm going to stop the recording here.